What's up, guys? Just got done with a quick workout. It's like one of my favorite workouts, where I do weighted pull-ups, supersetted with power clean and overhead press. I just do like work up to some heavy singles, heavy for me, kind of back to back, hit that. And now I'm gonna do a few hill sprints, and then I'll get the day started. But I want to talk to you about a topic that is very common, and that is depression, particularly when people have come off of opiates or come off of medication assistance. So here, it usually goes like this: like somebody, they get on medication to get off opiates. So they're on like Suboxone, Subutex, Kratom, something like that. Then maybe they start to taper down. And they start to get on low doses, and they just start to feel depressed. And maybe it's because they had some momentum initially, you know, and now things have stalled. They don't know if they can actually officially taper off, like, you know, if they can actually go the full distance and get completely off of medications. They start to question themselves, start to doubt themselves. Another parameter is the chemicals in your brain that help you feel good, help you feel motivated and pursuing things. Those chemicals just don't, it's like they're not as prevalent. They're not, you know, your receptors aren't working as well. You're not producing what you need to produce. You're not accepting what you need to accept. And you know, we used to think a lot of depression had to do with just this chemical imbalance, but we're learning, I mean, there's so much more to it than that. You know, that is just a small piece of the puzzle. And you may not actually have like clinical depression. You know, oftentimes we think of post-acute withdrawal syndrome as this depression that happens after you're off of a type of medication, whether, again, and that can happen with Suboxone, Subutex, opiates, or it could even happen with antidepressants. But I believe that you can have post-acute withdrawal even when you're still taking the medication, but just when you're on lower doses and your brain and your body has not adapted yet, you know, to coming off of that. It's one of the reasons I, you know, advocate like this very slow taper approach, just because I've seen it so many times when people taper quickly and they start getting depressed and they relapse. They may not be relapsing because they need, you know, they're trying to get high, but they're just trying to feel something, you know, sometimes. Or they just, the withdrawal kicks in too. And just that fatigue and that, you know, what I'm calling lack of motivation, it like suffocates people in a way. You know, I got some patients who just decide they stay on medication assistance, you know, indefinitely, because they've tried that and they've gone down that road and they've seen where it led. And I've got other patients who, you know, it's just not in them to stay on medication. They're like very, you know, motivated to stop meds, but at the same time they have extreme difficulty, you know, in going the next steps, right? So what I always recommend is what you talk to your doctor. If you're struggling with this kind of depression, this fatigue, this lack of motivation, you get your labs checked to make sure there's not something else going on, like your thyroid, your testosterone, your liver function, your blood panel, make sure you're not anemic. You make sure there's not something else going on. You know, do you have untreated sleep apnea? Ooh, look at this dog. That's a good dog right there. It's my neighbor's dog. And when his kids go to the barn, that dog is so protective. I love it. But and there's one of my mini cats. Anyway, so what was I saying? So look for other medical causes that could be contributing, could be causing problems, you know, that because these things add to each other. It's not like if you fix this, your life's gonna be perfect, but like they add to each other. So maybe you have sleep apnea, maybe you're not sleeping well in general, you know. Are you exercising correctly or not correct? Are you exercising at all? Are you pumping blood through your body on a regular basis to get all the chemicals everywhere it needs to get to have good blood flow? Are you working on losing body fat, which tends to store, you know, and cause problems? Are you eating better? Are you getting rid of all the junk food and the processed crap that makes you feel horrible? You know, like what's the source of your drinking? What are you drinking? Are you just drinking sodas all day? Are you drinking good water? You know, what exactly do you need to work on to give yourself like the biggest advantage of being successful? You know, these things don't fix anything among themselves, except they give you the advantage, right? They give you that next step. And if you're not doing these things, you're gonna have a difficult time getting past those sticking points. The other thing you need to be doing is working on like your purpose in life, which is the most important thing. And I'm not going to get into what I think you should be doing or as far as that goes. I'm not going to give you your purpose, but I'm not your guru, I'm not your priest, but you need to have your connection to something other than the material world, right? You know, in AA, they call it the higher power. You know, I call it, say God. There needs to be, your life needs to be lived somehow, not just in the material, in the what you feel and think and all that. You know, you have to tie your heart into something greater, okay? And as you start to get all these things wrapped up, you're gonna start finding yourself better able to get past sticking points and better able to think clearly, so that maybe you can think outside the box and like, well, I didn't try this approach or I didn't try that approach. You know, there's a lot of folks who have had great success, who had trouble with Suboxone, who are getting on Sublocade now and doing really well with that, you know, or maybe trying to get on the patches to get a really low dose so you can just slowly taper. Or maybe your problem is you're not at the point where you need to be tapering, you know, or maybe you need an addition, maybe you need to take an antidepressant to get some extra chemicals in. And a lot of people get worried about that because they think, well, you know, I'm trying all I can to get off meds. But no, that's not the right way to think. The right way to think is I'm doing everything I can to be healthy, right? And maybe another medication could help you get past the sticking point, and then you could taper that easily, because there are meds that are not as difficult to stop or get off of as opiates, Suboxone, Subutex, etc. So my point is, don't like limit yourself by these ideas of what you think works. Instead, like open yourself up to the possibility that, okay, my goal is not to be off meds. My goal is to be sober, to be clean, to be healthy, to have good relationships, to live with purpose. Now, what can I do to get there? That's the point, guys. Peace.